Hello everyone. Welcome to Confessions Jury, where people put themselves on the spot, waiting for your judgment. Sit comfortably and listen carefully, as you're about to hear today's cases. You hold the hammer and you apply the law. Let us have your verdict down in the comments section. As always, don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Let's head on to our first case. Case 1. Am I the bad person for letting my chronically late wife miss an event she was looking forward to by not rushing her? Because I wanted her to face consequences. My wife, 32F, and I, 31M, have been together for 5 years. I'm fed up with my wife's chronic lateness to many things. It's really annoying and grates on my nerves. To her, it seems like no big deal because I always manage to rush her by telling her the time of an event 45 minutes earlier. She's never noticed earlier because she's too caught up with herself, constantly taking photos. That's the reason she's always late. She has a decent following on Instagram and is looking to grow as a content creator. I find it really silly how she turns everything we do into a photo session. And at this point, I've stopped agreeing to take her photos altogether. We've had several conversations about this. I've told her that it's mentally exhausting for me to always have to stay on top of making sure we both get ready according to plan. But she never really does anything to address it. This time, I wanted her to experience the consequences of her actions. This month alone, we've been embarrassingly late to events 2 times. And this time was the first she realized I hadn't been honest about the timing because I used to give her an ETA 40 minutes earlier. A week ago, I told her I wouldn't be doing that anymore and that I expected her to act like an adult and be more responsible. It was her birthday this weekend, and I got her tickets to an event featuring several performers, including her favorite artists in the first act. This time, as I'd already told her before, I didn't give her the extra 40-minute buffer. I expected her to remember our conversation and store that information in her head to plan accordingly. Instead, she did her whole influencer routine, decorating our room, setting up studio lights, dressing up, and taking photos. The whole time, I knew she was missing out on her favorite artist because she didn't take me seriously. It was so ironic that I didn't even feel like reminding her. I'm done with the mental burden of always rushing and planning. We arrived, and she realized what had happened. She got upset and started crying, asking how I could do this to her on her birthday. She said it seemed like I was liking the rise it got from her and asked why I couldn't set my ego aside for one day. I told her this was on her. I'd already made it clear I wasn't going to rush anymore, and she should have listened the first time and expected me to follow through, unlike her. She said the whole point of the event was to see the performances of those artists who we just missed. She was incredibly upset and kept crying off and on during the event. The ride home was awkward. I was in the downstairs restroom when she texted me saying I wasn't welcome in the bedroom that night. I ignored her message and went in while she was changing. She looked like she wanted to kill me, and I simply told her that her saying I'm not welcome was irrelevant because it's my room too. If she's uncomfortable, she could take the couch. She ended up leaving to visit her mom, and I'm considering whether I was a bad person. What do you guys think? Lay down your ruling in the comments section, and let's move on to our next story. Case 2. Am I the bad person for wanting to break up with my husband after he called our autistic son a burden and said he wants to give him up for adoption? I, 30F, have been married to my husband, 32M, for 5 years. We've had our share of problems like any couple, but this one's really shaken me to my core. We have a son, 5M, who was diagnosed with autism about 2 years ago. Of course, it hasn't been easy, but I love him with all my heart. He's sweet, and despite the challenges, I could never imagine life without him. Lately, my husband has been acting different. He's more distant, like he's checked out emotionally. I chalked it up to stress from work, or maybe just that we're both overwhelmed trying to balance everything. But then I overheard something that I can't unhear. He was talking to a couple of his friends, and they were discussing kids, parenting, etc. One of his friends made some offhand comment about how hard parenting is. And that's when my husband just let loose. He started saying how our son is too much to handle and that he feels like he's a burden. He even mentioned that sometimes he wishes we could give him up for adoption. Like what? I couldn't believe it. At first I thought maybe he was just frustrated and saying things out of anger or stress. But he kept going. He wasn't just venting. He said he missed the freedom we had before becoming parents, and that he thinks it would be better for everyone if we weren't stuck with this life. I was absolutely crushed. How could he talk about our son like that? I would never give up on him. Not for anything. He's not a burden. He's a beautiful boy who just needs more understanding and patience. Hearing my husband say those things about him just shattered me inside. When I confronted him, he brushed it off, saying I was overreacting and that he didn't really mean it, that he was just blowing off steam with his friends. But how can I not take that seriously? He's literally talking about abandoning our son. He didn't apologize. He said he's just overwhelmed and feels like our son's autism is taking over our lives and that he doesn't know how much more he can take. But instead of working through it together, he's talking about running away from the problem. Now I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. I feel like I can't stay with someone who sees our child as a burden. But I also feel so torn because we're married, and I thought we'd always have each other's backs, especially when it comes to raising our child. But if he's really feeling like this, how can I trust him to be there for our son and me in the long run? I don't want to break up our family, but I also can't stay with someone who could even think about giving up our child. I love my son more than anything, and I will never allow that. So, am I the bad person for wanting to leave my husband after this? Should I be trying harder to work this out, or is it too far gone? What do you guys think of this one? Let us know in the comments section, and let's move on to our next story. Case 3. Am I the bad person for calling my friend a creepy weirdo after she posted a TikTok about my husband? I, 28F, am friends with this girl. Let's call her June, also 28F. In fact, my husband, 32M, and I often hang out with June and her boyfriend. I did to go on double dates, have weekend trips, etc. We've known each other for over 2 years. I would say that we four were pretty tight as a group, up until this weekend. My husband is an orthodontist. One of his patients is June's half-sister, Raya, 12F. June often is the one accompanying Raya to her dental appointments. June is also a small-time online influencer. She's always recording and vlogging and stuff. Though my husband and I have made it clear to her, and we're absolutely not okay with our faces in her vlogs online, and she seemed to respect that boundary. We don't use social media, apart from Reddit. And we trusted her word when she said she's not gonna post us online. Cut to last weekend, my brother sent me this TikTok link with a message. Dude, you gotta watch this. I opened the link, and it directed me to June's TikTok account. She doesn't have much followers, less than 10K. But the particular video he sent me had like 500,000 views/likes. I'm not sure which. Lo and behold, it was a video compilation of my husband with the title, God, I See What You've Done for Others. The video was honestly the creepiest thing I've ever seen. She had recorded my husband during various of our double dates together, and it was clear he wasn't even aware he's being recorded. In some of the clips, she would start with her face and then pan the camera towards my husband with a cutesy expression and mouthing words like, oh my God. The worst one was where he was working on her half-sister, Raya, wearing scrubs, and she'd recorded even that. She didn't even bother to blur out the kid's face while she was lying on the dental chair. I showed the video to my husband and he was horrified. He said it made him so uncomfortable and violated knowing that someone had been secretly recording him. He was angry that she'd recorded him working on a patient. He texted her asking to take down the video and delete every video she has of him. First she feigned ignorance. Then she said that she meant no harm and that it was all for online engagement since, I quote, TikToks with hot guys go viral very fast, and that she'd gained a lot of followers after posting that. This was all so weird, but my husband and I got our families and friends to report the video, and thankfully it's being taken down now. This pissed off June, and she sent me a long-ass text saying how I was jealous of her online success, and that I couldn't stand seeing her succeed, blah blah blah. I replied saying you're delusional and unhinged. You're not successful, and you'll never be. Stay away from us, you creepy weirdo. Now she's all weepy and depressed and has been telling our common friends how mean I was to her. She's also been posting about mental health on her socials and about how mean some women are with their words, LOL. Am I the bad person? You've sat down. You've listened. Now, it's time to state your ruling. What is it gonna be? Let us have it down in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more cases like these. In life, we may run, but we can never hide from true justice. Stay safe, everyone.